Let's get started. So I think this is really nice to see all of you joining the courses, and we will have a really good time to understand the 4 or 5 topics that we have, whatever number of topics you have chosen to learn, and then we'll talk things really in detail. We'll understand your perspective. We'll give ours. We'll let you know what are the things you should take care of. What are the things because when you start learning things from a counselor perspective, things changes. You are more analytical, less judgmental. And the difference between being judgmental and analytical is the only that. So when you tell your analysis, you become judgmental. That's all. So let's first understand, because a lot of people will have different things to say. When it comes to relationship and all, when you will speak with people in general, people will have a very different opinion, right? So people might speak the social understanding of people, of relationship. Just understand this. Let's understand everything from the perspective of a counselor, not from the regular person that we are. So when we talk about relationship, a lot of people may not. So people don't really understand relationship means a person to person, one person to another. Not necessarily. Some people don't like being with people. Some people are absolutely happy when they're alone, and this is how they are. It's not that they hate people or something. They are just happier when they are themselves. So it's possible. So as a counselor, keep your mind always open for any possibility, right? Use your experience, but not to judge people, but to understand them. Many times when people will have something that is very contradicting of what they are saying, okay, let's listen. Because you understand that when we talk about life has individual definition. There is no standard definition of life. It's individual definition. So life is the way you have seen it, the way you have lived it, the way you have experienced it. If you have experienced life differently, it's a different thing, right? So same goes here. Just understand, it says, because life is about involvement, and why counseling is important, why relationship is important. So life is about involvement, especially with people. So think of a daily routine. And so if I may ask you a question, and this question will really help you understand. I think Radhika can answer. So Radhika, when was the last time you were really happy?
Actually, when I bake, I'm actually very happy.
Bedtime, you say?
Yeah, bake and music time. I'm a classical singer also.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a couple of classical singers, one from Bengal, and then, okay, good to have you too.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yes. Most of the memories that you say, and you always remember this fact, people want good memories without having good moments. And that is not possible. It's like, everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. And how do you really expect? So that's a contradict here. So same thing is here. If you want to have good memories, you have to have good moments. But people skip good moments. Or they think, it's quite a task. Or they think, oh God, who does it? Because it's a task, to create those moments. But they all look for good memories. That won't be possible. Generally, in the life, when I say, and life is about involvement most of the time. You need people to be in the lives. So most of the memories, when you will reflect, you will see someone was involved. Some people were involved. Not necessarily your family member. Not necessarily your friend. Not necessarily who is dearest to you. Maybe a stranger, but someone. Maybe community. Maybe a bunch of people that you like. For Radhika, it could be, the community of singing friends, when they come together, sit together, when they have performance, she really enjoys it. So sometimes it can be anything. So people are a very source. If people are the source of the pain, people are the source of the pleasure. Now, it totally depends on how your relationship is with them. If you have a good relationship with them, the same people can make you super happy. If bad, the same person can make you lifetime sad. It's all about them. There's a lot of things. The beauty of relationship not necessarily has to be understood from the human. You can see even the birds, animals, association, living together. It's a different enjoyment. You don't need intelligence to understand the importance of relationship. It's natural. You don't have to be super intellectual. No, it's natural. It's a habitat. So that's what it is when it comes to the importance of relationship. Okay. Um, let's see what we have in the. There are four kinds of relationship that we have generally. Okay. In four kinds of relationship, what do you see? You will see that you have a relationship is called given. First one is a relationship that's given to you, passed as a part of your system, like family. You don't choose family. It just happens. You get to know, oh, he's my father, he's my mom, he's my uncle, he's this. You don't choose it, right? Relatives, you don't choose it, but you wish you would, but you can't, right? Many times some relatives are very annoying, and you wish, oh, I wish I could change my relatives. You can't change them. So you don't choose. Second is made, paired by someone else. Somebody else pairs them for you, like marriage, no, colleagues, boss. Somebody else pairs. You join a company, you say, hi, from now onwards, she is going to be this. He's going to be a colleague. He's going to be a boss. Somebody pairs that. You don't have a way to choose your boss. I'm sorry, you're not going to be my boss. You can't do that. Then chosen, relationship that you choose. Like you choose as you need them, like your friends. You decide who you want to be friend with, who you don't. Partner of life, love, you choose, right? Then happened relationship, given, made, chosen, and happened. Happen is a kind of relationship, nobody works for it. Like being a teacher and student relationship. It's not chosen, it just happens. Who is going to be your mentor? Who is going to be your teacher? Who is going to be your pathfinder? You don't choose it. It just happens. You might have been looking for them for a lifetime, for a long time. You never know. Who will be your spiritual master? You don't know. Right? Because you don't have a check sheet. My spiritual master must have this, must have this. Oh, you qualified as a spiritual master. I'm coming to you. Not like that. It just happens. Maybe you heard someone saying something, one sentence that clicked. And then you start pursuing that person. And then you find, oh, okay. So it happens. Your master, mentor in life, pathfinder. These are the relationships. Nobody works for it. It just happen to happen. Take an example of this relationship that we have right now. Neither I was looking for you passionately, neither you were looking for me. We didn't even know each other. It happened. So that is how the relationship that we have in happened one. So there are relationships will happen to you. There are relationships you will choose. There are relationships will be made. And there are relationships will be given to you. 4 different kinds of relationship you will have. Always understand this concept. This is the basic, this is the most important concept of relationship. If you can understand this, you will understand the very foundation of relationship. Every relationship has 2 key aspects, code and conduct. Code and conduct. And take an example of this. A set of conducts decide a code of a relationship. How do you conduct in that relationship? How are your conducts in that relationship will decide what code that relationship will have. Name of the relationship. So here code is the name of the relationship. And vice versa. Sometimes the code will be given to you out of 4 relationships that we have. Hi, from now onwards, you are pronounced as husband and wife or something like this. So you have given a code. Now, wife has to perform certain conducts to remain that code. If she changes the conduct, the code will change. Husband will no longer feel she is wife and vice versa. So either you are given a code and you are expected to perform all the conducts, Or you start performing the conducts and then you realize, you have a certain code. This entire relationship is like this: code, conducts, code, conducts. That's the only thing you have to remember. Now, let's understand, and don't, from a counselor's perspective, whenever someone comes to you, they have a relationship problem, relationship glitches, people will come to you with different, with different situations. Always remember, and, giving a hope and knowing the reality are super important for a counselor. Even if you're giving the hope, you have to know the reality, how things work. Always remember, every relationship has few phases. Every relationship, all four that we discussed. It has budding phase, development phase, performance phase, survival phase, setting phase, and rising phase. Now, mind it, when I say every relationship has all these phases, and let me understand this from you, then maybe it'll be easy for you to understand. Do you understand that between two persons, there can be many other relationships? Have you experienced between two persons? So relationship changes. So not necessarily, let's say, I can tell you, between a father and a son, okay, when the son is too small and his young father is much like father and son relationship. With the time, when the son grows, you see that it becomes more of a friendly relationship. Right? It has to be. It cannot be the same as it was 10 years before. It is the two persons only, still father and son. So it's possible that there are relationships in a relationship. So between two persons, there can be a lot of relationships that can start and die as the time goes. So it's perfectly okay if there is a relationship, and there was a relationship, that relationship will go away one day, for sure. If relationship has a budding phase, it will definitely have a setting phase, undoubtedly. So there is no point thinking as a counselor, oh, how come? It will change, because it changes. This is a relationship cycle that you have, any relationship that you have. And we'll talk more and we'll understand. Let's see, first example. When we say budding phase, what is a budding phase? Budding phase is when you are totally in acquaintance mode. There is no much pleasure, no much pain. So you know someone, when you meet someone, no much pleasure, no much pain. It's a simple. But when it comes to development phase, when a relationship develops, there is some pleasure and some pain. With their presence, some pleasure and some pain. With their absence can be also. I read a quote somewhere. This was on teaching. So there was a student who was writing that some teachers, can make you happy with their presence, and some can make you happy with their absence. So it's possible. So yeah. So you understand that this is how things are. So development phase, some pleasure and some pain, right? Performance phase is when you make something big, when you come together and you make something either big or new or better that you already have. That's a development phase. That's the youngest phase of a relationship. It's said that a relationship has no longer than 7 years. 7 years is the maximum age a relationship has generally. Every relationship sets down in 7 years, changes entirely. Then we have survival phase. Every relationship will have a survival phase, even if the social name is the same, right? Maybe socially you are known or called by the same name, but the relationship, the chemistry between you and the other person will totally be changed. in 7 years. Then we have a setting phase. So survival phase is when the relationship starts slipping out of your hand. And this just becomes like a sand. The tighter you hold, the faster it slips. This is how it happens. And then it comes to setting phase, where all you can do is sit, watch, cry, and let the relationship melt. But the good news is, with every setting phase, there is rising phase in a relationship. A new relationship will be born between two persons. A new chemistry will be born between two persons. And there will be a different kind of relationship between two persons. So, live with this knowledge that any relationship will have all these phases. There will be budding phase. And now you start putting the chemistry, and you will understand this. So if people get separated in their budding phase, perfectly okay. People get separated in development phase, maybe a little painful. Performance phase, oh, very painful. Exactly when everything was great, you were enjoying that relationship, you were building something big, doing something great together, survival phase. So always remember, every relationship has this phase, where you get to know things, where you start disliking something, and the relationship starts slipping away from your hand. And setting phase and rising phase. Now, whenever someone comes to you for counseling, and whenever you help someone, either your loved ones or known ones, anyone's, then always remember, ask them whenever they come to you. So this is where you need to understand. When somebody says that, I'm going through a tough time, ask them. Ask the history. How long you have known them? How long you have been together? What you have done together? This thing will help you understand what phase they are in right now. So if they are in a performance phase, you understand the pain of being separated will be really high. So that is why you see many a times, some people say, oh, that's perfectly okay. You want to go. Why? Because they are not in performance phase. And then you see, oh, this person is really insensitive. How can you say this? Oh, because they're in different phase. That's why. So just remember this, scientifically, that what phase they are in, and that is when, do you know, and just understand it from this perspective, why people suicide? Because they are in performance phase and they have to leave. If they are in a different phase where the pain will be much less, or most of people suicide either in performance phase or in survival phase. It becomes super difficult. How can I give you a layman example? So think of a tree. How do you know? When you look at a tree, it looks average tree, unless you uproot. When you uproot that tree, the pit will tell you how this tree was entangled with the earth. When you uproot that tree, you will say there is a big pit, big hole. That is how the relationships are so complex that you only get to know when they leave, or when it sets. It leaves a mark. So these are the phases that you have. Just keep that in mind. We will require this information later on. Now code and conduct, this is something we are talking about. Understand simple code as y, constant, conduct as an x, variable, okay? Now, this is not very intelligent, a simple, common sense question. So if you know code is y is code, is constant. Can you do anything about y? You can't do much about this because this is constant. What is variable here? X. Conduct. That is a variable factor. So anytime as a counselor, when you focus, do not focus on why. People will generally come with why questions. We are friend. Why she doesn't act like this? Or we are parent. We are parents. We did this for them, that for him, but he doesn't listen. He doesn't care. Are we not parents anymore? Am I not your father? Am I not? Don't focus on why. Why is for people. They will come cry over why. You don't focus on why, because there is nothing that you can do. You can change the result, you can change the process, and then the result will be changed. So they will keep screaming on why, but you don't focus on that. You focus on the X factor, the conducts. So listen to them, right? Said, cry ditto, say yes. Agree with them, but don't focus there. People would like, when they will come to you for counseling, they would like to know the instant answer. They would like to know, generally parents, when they say, husband sometime, wife or kids, anyone, they complain. He's my father, right? He should be provider. Well, you never know. So people want to encash that code lifetime without caring about conducts. No, that's not possible. Why? Because for the fact you know that the code can only survive for 7 years. It will change. Every bit of code will change. The relationship will change. Socially, name will remain the same, but the chemistry will entirely change. So the expectation. So let's see, what do we have here? Now, so super important for you to understand now the factors of conduct. Now this is going to be super crucial for you to understand. So whenever someone comes to you for relationship advice, for help, for counseling, let's get started here. Understand this for very, understand it as seriousness as possible. Factors of conduct. If we know the conduct is everything, what are the factors? Factors are reason, situation, and nature. There are 3 things responsible to change your conduct. Because when the conduct is changing, code will change. Reason, situation, and nature. 3 things. Now, let's understand this, and let me ask something from all of you. So, and let's start thinking like, counseling as a counselor. So, think about it. And have you ever witnessed anyone? Maybe the reason can be any small. It doesn't have to be a big reason. So, social cliche we are talking about right now. And let me ask you a situation. So, let's say a guy married to a girl. She was really beautiful. A girl had an accident. Okay. And she she scrapped her face or something like this. She's no longer that beautiful. Okay, situation. It's only been few years, 2-3 years of marriage. Now, of course, girls start noticing a lot of disconnect that it used to be. She feels depressed. She goes to a counselor. She's right in front of you, right before you. She complains this is how my husband was. This is how we came in the relationship. We really loved, enjoyed. I think we had a perfect life. Now he doesn't seem to be interested. Not as much. He still cares for me, but not. What would you suggest? What would you say to that girl? Any one of you can, from your personal experience, how would you suggest? Maybe Seher, you want to say? What would you say to her?
As you told us, I think it's a development phase because they have been married and attached, and now the accident has gone.
Yeah.
So development phase में वो tough time से गुजर रही हैं.
अभी तो development खत्म है because it's no longer a development phase because now that relationship seems the survival phase.
Survival phase.
Yeah, because it's going away. Development phase was when they were really enjoying every day. The guy was coming back from office, taking her outside, used to eat golgappe, enjoy, watch movies. That was a phase, the most exciting one. Now this is survival. Things are slipping away from hand.
Slipping down.
Yes. Now she comes to you. What would you say as a counselor? Take any one of you can say.
No idea.
Any one of you.
So she can try to save the relationship by reliving the moments which they used to have before.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, Radhika?
Okay, she can save the relationship by reliving the moments which they had before.
Okay, okay, okay. She can. So you're saying the beautiful moments she have
Yeah.
had, she can relive. But the problem is, the relationship is work of two persons. The guy is kind of not interested, not as much as he used to be. He still is a nice and gentleman. He cares for her, but kind of that chemistry is gone, kind of, and this is going away every day. How would you say? Any one of you? Divya, Gangadhar, Arun sir, any one of you? What would you suggest that person? ठीक है, ठीक है. What I'm really trying to introduce here is, do not think it from a social perspective. If she asked these questions in the society, what would people say? People will blame to the guy, right? He says, come on, I mean, just because she has lost her beauty today, I mean, why not? It's about emotions, it's about heart, it's about purity and everything else. But that's a social judgment. That's not true. That's taking a favor. You might be taking a favor to a girl, or might be feeling more sympathetic to a girl and saying that, because it's the matter of living lifetime. So think about it for a moment. Do you realize sometimes there can be just one reason to start a relationship, to keep a relationship, and to let go of a relationship? Just one reason. That's all. Possible, and it's very possible. And let's start thinking as a counselor, okay, not as the social cliche. Think about the emotions, and psychology is simple. So psychology says that I liked her because she was beautiful. Now the truth is she is no longer beautiful. Maths, simple math. Emotions is mathematics. So put it there. I liked her because she was beautiful. I want to like her, but she's no longer beautiful, but I can't like her. So don't try to, start or say that, the guy is doing bad. He should have understood. This is a love. This is a purity. No, maybe the guy liked because she was beautiful. And truth is, she is no longer beautiful. So where your job as a counselor is to give people hope and options, your job is also to sweetly tell the truth. Truth is not always bitter, if you know how to say this. And that is one thing will make you different than the ordinary people. Why the people say the truth is bitter? Because they don't know how to say this. It requires someone to tell the truth. It's not bitter. So you literally need to, put the perspective really simple. Like you can certainly say, think for a moment. And this is naturally, think for a moment. If the beauty was the only reason why you loved someone and it is no longer there, how likely you are to relive the same passion? Chances are less. So you have to be very good at presenting the facts, advocating the facts sweetly, so the person does not feel a thing and still you tell the truth. So it will require, so counseling becomes tough sometimes. Why? Because your inner person fights, how she can do that, how he can do that. They can do that. We all do that. It's just that we fail to notice. So we'll learn all these things from now onwards in this factor. We'll see how many factors can really change. So first we're talking about reasons. Now, there can be a lot of reasons that can change the conduct, because change of conduct is a change of code. What can change the conduct? And so personal reason, there can be personal reason that can change the conduct between two persons. It can be behavior, can be someone's attitude, someone's charisma, someone's beauty, someone's personality, someone's choices. So it's very, very possible, right? Understand, it is possible that somebody likes someone simply because somebody is charismatic. It's possible, and it happens if you really start, getting closer to the truth. It's possible that somebody can like someone who's not at all good looking, not at all have money, nothing. He has a good attitude. He's just a nice person. takes everything positive, always smiles, lives happy. There's a lot of magnetic power he has. Many times, have you not seen a couple where would you see कि अच्छा ये इनके साथ कैसे? I mean, she is far pretty, but how come with this guy? Oh, you never know. Maybe the guy was sweet enough, or maybe he was wealthy enough. You never know. One and single one reason can be, for a relationship. So, and live with this knowledge purely that this happens with human psychology. That sometimes one and just one reason is enough to start a relationship, to keep a relationship, and to let go of a relationship. Tell you the fact. So somebody, sometimes that faithlessness or cheating when people have in a relationship. For some people, this matters so much that they can suicide. For some people, it's okay. They can move to the different relationship. For some people, lying can be a bigger thing. For some people, this can be okay. And this is what happens. So when you present the fact, when they come to counseling, marriage counseling or something, they're like, she lied to me. And they're like, and she's like, yeah, I did. Sometimes, so these are not small things. The only thing you have to remember as a counselor is nothing is small if it matters to someone. So thing has zero value. Always remember, entire world lives between mind and matter. If you mind it, this will matter to you. If you don't mind it, it won't matter to you. So there is nothing. So value of things depends on how much you mind it. If you don't mind it, it will never matter to you. You must see that sometimes, there is a fight between husband and wife. Why? Because the wife is very tidy, very principled. She wants everything at a place, everything neat and clean. Husband is just opposite. For some couple, this may be nothing. This may be, that's okay. For someone, this can be everything. I'll tell you a joke here now. So there was a guy who took voluntarily retirement from army. He came back village. So when he came back village, he didn't know what to do. So the villagers suggested him, why don't you buy a buffalo? You take care of her, she will give you milk, have a happy life. He said, okay. He bought a buffalo. All right, things were going good. Then real soon, the villagers got to know he was beating buffalo every day. And people, are you serious? So all the, old people and bujurg, all the senior people in village, they came, he said, are you serious? Have you ever taken care of buffalo? If you beat her too much, she won't give you milk. The army person said, I don't care if she doesn't give me a milk, I want discipline. So it's possible. So it happens. Sometimes you are the way you are and you remain the way you remain. And everything matters to you, even if it doesn't matter to someone else. So it's a lot of factors there. That's why it becomes a little difficult for people to maintain or manage the relationship. So it can be personal, it can be professional reason too. Sometimes people, relationship can stay just because of career, field of work, or network, or position, or power. Can be social reason. Sometimes relationship stays because of status. Somebody has a status. As long as they have a status, relationship will stay. You must have heard these kind of examples in your daily life, na? Like, अच्छा, जब तक उसके पास पैसा था, they were all happy. पैसा नहीं है तो नहीं, हाँ, because पैसे के लिए relationship था वो. That's truth. So you don't become emotional unnecessarily as a counselor. As a person, you have all the rights. As a counselor now, it's not like, how can you do this just because he doesn't have money? Yeah, because money was the only factor keeping him or keeping me with him. That's how it's going to be. Do you see the news generally? Ki 65 years old man is marrying with 26-year-old girl or something like this, जिनके पास पैसे बहुत होते, and you're like, why? Because this matters to me, that's all. So have a fair judgment, a fair analysis of persons. Don't really get into that judgmental mode, the why and how, because people can. So we have to have a wide perspective to understand all this. Very wide open. Not judging someone or something. So that's one thing. Finance can be, have you ever realized sometimes, even if that person has nothing special, just because that person helped you once in a lifetime when you needed the most, some money, few thousands maybe, few lakhs maybe, and that mattered so much that he decided that he's the only person you're going to be with. That's all. And the whole world will keep accusing you, talking you, telling you that just because he helped you once and that's all, yeah, that's all. So nothing is small in a relationship when it comes to reasons. Anything can be a reason for a relationship to start, to stay, and to go. Anything. There was this thing, this example said there was this old couple. So in US, you know that, marriages don't live long, right? I think 70s, even the 70% marriages don't survive. 70%, they don't survive. So we don't have to be judgmental. We just have to see their culture. This is how it is, right? Now, so, there was a couple, they have been married for, I think, 50 years. They have been married for 50 years, 75 or so. They were called on the TV and asked, how in the world you managed to live together 50 years? And the wife said, because we were born in a time when things were broken, we wouldn't throw them, we would fix them. That's how they lived. And that is how most of people in India live. Something happens between them, they believe in fixing things, not throwing and replacing it. That's how it is. But we are also changing. We hate things to be repaired, we love replacement. So we are changing. That's all. So you just have to understand the modern situations and the current situations going on in the world to be most effective counseling. Okay? Makes sense, everyone? All of you? You're understanding the point? You're relating the points? You see how your role is going to be as a counselor? Not as a social judge. Not what cliche, not what social statements are, social beliefs are. You have to be very different. Very different, very wide open. Keeping in mind. And just keep this simple thing. So far what you have learned is, remember, conducts and code. List of conducts can define a code, and a code, if code is given, and one of the simplest example I can give you for conducts and code is love marriage and arranged marriage, for example. So in arranged marriage, you are given a code. From now onwards, this is who you are. And what are you expected? To perform all the conducts. If you miss the conducts, change the conduct, replace the conduct, delete the conducts, there will be a glitch in the code. Both of them will not identify that code anymore. And in love marriage, just opposite. You start performing the conduct, and one day you realize, we are almost husband and wife. Let's get married. And then you are given a code. So that's how it is. Just keep an example. Where most of counseling will come to you and they will cry on the codes, you don't. You listen to them, agree, say, okay, I understand. But your focus as a logical point of view, scientific approach should be, your focus should be to conduct, not to code. Code will change by default. It's a result of conduct, that's all. And the first thing in conduct is reason that we are learning right now. Can be personal reason, professional reason, spiritual reason, social reason, maybe status. I have a status and that's all. Maybe the status is gone, I'm changed. Possible, and very possible. So reason can be emotional reason too. Sometimes you see that sometimes people, especially in love marriage, you will see that even if they're not a great, they're not a great fit, still someone is too sweet. And somebody asks you, so why do you love him? Because he's sweet. And other party does not get that thing. What do you mean sweet? That's all? Yeah. someone is caring, someone is kind, someone is wise, someone is intelligent. Sometimes you see people are ready to be with one another. Why? They know that both of them are devils, but they're intelligent and they choose to be with them. That happens. So you will see all these reasons. When you will talk to people, you will see only these reasons. So when someone will come to you and complain, you will see in the reasons, this is what it is. They will fall among. Now, relationship is always a beautiful thing. What can happen is, even when you have started with one reason, it is possible by the time you move, you have many more reasons. So, if that is not the only reason of a relationship, then your relationship will survive longer. But if the only reason why you started, nothing else got created in between, not even a development phase, the chances are it's a very fragile relationship. The day that is gone, you're gone. So that's how you see that in arranged marriage. Generally, what happens? People don't have enough reasons to live with one another, except this social pressure. But gradually, when they start living with one another, you will see they develop and figure out and find out a lot of reasons to be with them. So they may start with one reason, but they might develop many more. And this is how people manage to live with one another. Okay, makes sense? You understood this concept scientifically, how it works? Divya, you got it? Very good. Now let's say situations that gives you. Apart from reason, there can be situations. So sometimes it's always not the reason, sometimes situations. You have the reasons. You have all the reasons to be with them, to like them, right? Situations may change. Like for example, taking a relationship between a father and son. Are they father and son? Yes. Will they always be? Of course, in this lifetime. They'll always be. Okay? The reasons may be the same. Maybe father still cares for son. Maybe everything is good, no problem at all. But the situation may change. Maybe father caught his son smoking. He always believed he's going to be one of the finest sons. He will make him proud and do this, do that. All right, the reason is still there. But there's a certain situation that changed. And father secretly noticed that or found out. Son never told. Situation changed, things will change. Take an example of mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, maybe son. So mother loves her son, everyone knows. But the moment they get married, do you know why there is a fight? Who can share this? Let's talk about this. Why there is so much fight between mother-in-law and this daughter-in-law? And who will tell this? Yes, please, Seher.
So because there is difference in opinions, and also the mother understand that this girl has taken away my son from away from me. Okay, so there is a lot of plunder over this,
Right.
and she doesn't accept this also.
ठीक है.
The mother-in-law never accept that this is the main reason. No, she will never admit it. She will say, no, that's not the problem. The problem is another thing. But if we understand deeply, after a relationship of 7 years or 9 years, we came to know, no, that's not the problem. The problem was this, ki her son was with you. Because earlier, whatever the mother is cooking, yeah, whatever the mother is making for the son was appreciating it and making her happy. Absolutely. But the son still also doing this, but somehow their mindset changes.
Of course.
Within the time, the mother-in-law mindset changes. And some outsiders also, oh, daughter-in-law are like this.
They add fuel to the fire.
Thinkings, but she didn't want to identify how my sister-in-law, daughter-in-law.
Yeah. Okay. ठीक है.
They talk to each other and try to understand that no, the problem is not this thing. Okay, she will exactly improve the relationship. One-to-one talk will improve the relationship also
ठीक है.
between the daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law.
Let's take it further. Let me ask, let me put this as a situation. So, ठीक है, Divya, you have a family counseling, okay? The same situation. Mother-in-law, father-in-law, son came to you and he's like, God, I don't know what to do. I'm in between. I don't know what to do. Generally, this is the situation is. ठीक है, finally, they agreed that, you'll be meeting mother-in-law and daughter-in-law separately. What would you say to both of them? Son is neutral here. He's a nice guy. He can't do much. He doesn't know what else to do. What would you suggest?
So I would suggest that he should treat both of them equally in front of each of them. Like, you shouldn't treat more like showing more love towards your wife or showing more towards your mother in front of both of them. If you're showing more, then they will think that you have been replaced by the love they have given to other person.
Right. Okay, that is suggestion for son. Good news. But son is not much a problem there. Less of a problem. Son can be a problem, but less of a problem. But how would you, so, family counseling, generally what happens? Some sessions are separate. So you will have a separate counseling with mother-in-law, separate counseling with daughter-in-law, separate counseling can be son, and sometimes can be together, maybe in the last. What would you say when you have a separate conversation? What are your punchlines? How is it going to be? How would you convince? If I'm a mother-in-law, what are you going to say?
I don't know about this.
Okay. All right. Anyway, no problem. Gangadhar, or maybe Arun sir, if you're listening, or Prashantji, if you're listening, any one of you can say, what would you say? Yes.
You can tell her, look, you have a daughter. Your daughter also goes somewhere else as a daughter-in-law. She becomes daughter-in-law to somebody else.
Right.
This girl was somebody else's daughter, and when she came to you, she adopted you as her mother because she will be with you for the rest of her life,
Right.
your life and her life. So there may be some differences, some sociological, psychological issues, but that's okay. Your daughter also, when she goes to a new place, she has to adapt. She needs time to reconcile. She has to adapt to the new people, adopt the new changing environment. So that's perfect.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Of course, and that will tap some emotions, I'm sure, because yes. Very good, sir. Who else want to say? How would you say? Mother-in-law, explaining to mother-in-law is difficult. Daughter-in-law can still understand. But I think, and then, and this is a question. Let's focus center on mother-in-law. What would you say, Gadika?
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Who is there?
Rachna here.
Rachna. Oh, yeah. I can see on videos. I was like, yes, Rachna, please. What would you say?
Yeah. The first thing I would like to tell her that the basic reason generally where mother-in-law and daughter-in-law fights are because of the possessiveness for the same person. So it's important to make her realize that now there is someone else also in his life and she needs to make place for her. And gradually, like, that person may or may not be as per what you are thinking always. So you need to give little independence to her and respect her freedom also.
Absolutely. I think
And what what emotional balance and things you gave to your son, but still there are certain emotional needs and physical needs which that girl is going to give to your son. So you need to make little space for her also. If she is happy, your son will also be happy. So ultimately, we need to adjust with each other.
I think you're spot on, exactly right. I think this is going to be very helpful. It's just that, of course, when you're in a counseling session, it has to be presented differently, right? But as brilliantly as you can, because to explain mother-in-law is quite a tough job, right? Because she is old school. Even if she's not old school, she won't be ready to understand the many things. But I think this is one of the points you certainly want to spot on. Explaining things, but when it comes to counseling, you always remember, before you start explaining the facts, ensure that someone is ready to listen to the facts. Why? Because people love and hate facts depends if the facts are in their favor or not. So first of all, you have to set the ground in a way that she really want to believe in you. She really want to listen to you. So maybe, you can get started that way, but definitely this can certainly help. Think about it and present it. So, no doubt, but this is a problem of sharing, being shared, possessiveness, and command too, dominance too. Because, yes, please, Gangadhar.
I want to add one thing, sir.
Yeah, please.
Next, we are discussing about the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this son is there, no? He is doing some dramas.
Son.
In front of, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening. Okay. Okay. Son also does drama. Okay. All right.
In front of the wife, he is doing some drama. So in that, in between that, mother does not believe the daughter-in-law, or daughter-in-law don't want to believe her mother-in-law. So if the son is behaving gently, it may be some, we can limit the clash between mother and daughter-in-law.
I'm sure we can minimize the clash. Yes. Oh, okay. So you're saying that daughter-in-law may not be a drama queen, but son-in-law definitely becomes, yeah, okay, the drama king. Anyway, but I think I agree with you totally, because you're true. Many a times, I think that the guy lacks the authenticity there.
Sir, it is a sweet truth, sir.
Maybe.
It is a
I agree.
What I told, it is a bitter truth.
I agree. Yeah. Maybe that guy is also bechara. He doesn't know what else to do sometimes. He's also helpless many a time. So maybe a mix of it. I totally agree. That depends on one's personality too. Yeah.
So, no, he's pulled between two directions.
Yeah.
He can't disown one. He can't.
And then he has to be torn apart because he doesn't know what to do.
That's it.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. Radhika, you also want to say something?
Yeah, if the son is very neutral, so he should handle them separately or individually, both of them. Yes, and the mother-in-law would suggest that she should give them some kind of privacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And very good. Very insightful suggestions here. Absolutely. And also what son can do, son can figure out how to fill void. Because what happens during, when a wife comes in a picture, there's a lot of void in mother's life. How to fill that void, how to shift the perspective. Because if both of them are focusing on the same stuff, knowing the fact that son is supposed to and will be spending more time, willingly or not willingly, son has to play strategic thing here, might want to shift the perspective of altogether. Because if both of you are looking at the same stuff constantly, the fight is fixed. It will happen. The clash will happen. So I think that also requires explanation. Depends. Many people understand that explanation. Many people don't. So if words don't work, action. If action doesn't work, strategy. Right? Something you will have to keep doing. Shifting, deviating, one or the other ways. A lot of other ways has to be there. Good. Thank you very much. It was good sharing. Let's say what we have. So when we talk about situations, 3 kinds of situation you will have in a relationship that will change the conduct. Suddenly developed situation, gradually developed, and constant or ongoing. Suddenly developed is something changed in the person's own family. You must say, I'll give you a classical Indian example. You see that Indian movies, what happens? Girls and boy both love one another, very, very happy. All of a sudden, guy's father died or was killed by someone. Guy has changed, right? He's a different person altogether. Girl calls, he speaks rude. She says, "Tum pehle jaise nahi gaye, tum badal gaye," all of them. And then there is a song between, what song says, "I'm sorry, main pehle jaisa hu, situation badal gaya." Situation matters a lot. So sometimes, even if you're the same person, has the same reason, situation changes and you're bound to change. Conduct will change. Like, for example, you see that and this is the finest example, when it's only a couple, husband and wife, they might spend time very beautifully. When there are kids involved, situation change. Of course, a beautiful thing. One thing happened very beautifully, but maybe now the wife has to take care of many things, also for all husbands, kids, for herself. So maybe situation changed. But if the husband still remains the same thing, of course she is socially wife. But like I said, the chemistry will change over 7 years. It has to change entirely. So husband should also understand it, but she is socially wife, but the chemistry will change. Situation change, conducts will change. Conducts will change, relationship will change. Can be sudden situation. Other thing can be, gradually developed. Let's, for example, I'll tell you this. Let's say, what is a gradually developed situation? Age, for example. Right? Age is a factor. Everyone, and I don't know why people hate to be, to age, because aging is the only way of living. There is no other way you can live. If you don't age, you don't live, right? So it's possible that when, person grows or when ages, so it's very, very possible that the conducts will change. Age can be a factor, many factor. Between even son or parent, a lot of things. You see that when son grows, it starts acting differently. It starts demanding things, listens less, does he wants to do. If you pressurize him, he finds a way out. It's all factors. So if a father fails to understand, if a father feels that he will still use the same taming tool, screaming and slapping, you know how it's going to turn out. Very different. So people have to remember that maybe gradually develop the situation, right? Or maybe, for example, I can tell you, you must see that maybe there is a earning, somebody who is chief of the family, for example. He's the one who's been taking care of anything and everything for everyone, but all of a sudden maybe he had an accident, or maybe he had a disease. He's not able to do stuff the way he used to do. He can't do things himself. And some person has to be there to take care of him. So you see that the way people who used to love that person when he was absolutely healthy and happy will differ now. That's why you see people will come for counseling and they will complain about things. Initially when everything was good, people used to like me and they would run to me every time I would come back home. But now I have been ill, or I've not been well for a few months. Nobody even cares. Nobody even comes to ask. People really find that I'm a baggage. That's true. Because when situation change, conducts do change. It happens. And then when conducts change, relationship change. Okay, you understood? And last can be, when it comes to situation, is constant and ongoing. Many times people fail to realize. So you must see sometimes people keep fighting. So fight is for one of the finest example. And people believe that it's okay to fight. Everyone fights. But sometimes that fighting keeps bottling up. People want to express, they don't, keep bottling up. And one day it bottles up so much that one person decides to separate. No. And you're like, nothing big happened. I mean, we have been fighting for 7 years. But that 7 years, then ongoing situation will change the conduct. Because everything has a level. When the level is crossed, it's like balloon. You keep puffing the balloon. You see, but it has a level. It will blast one day. And then you cannot remake that balloon. You're gone, done. So same happens. For fight, I know I have a funny thing to share with you. So there was one happy couple move in a flat in a society. And they used to laugh a lot. So you know that, newly married and happy couple, they used to laugh a lot all time. All the neighbors were really excited, especially male. They're like, wow, what a chemistry you guys share, I mean, how come you manage to be so happy all the time? Keep laughing. So the guy says, no, it's not what you think, sir. It's not what you think. Actually, we keep fighting so much, and when we fight, we start throwing, stuff on each other. कभी बर्तन फेंक के मारती है, तो जब जब मुझे लगता है तो वो हंसती है, जब जब छूट जाता है तो मैं हंसता हूँ. And this is how we keep laughing. So it's not what you think. So yeah, so you always know the ongoing situation can also change the conduct. So suddenly, came situation, gradually and ongoing. Few things can change. That's why you see that, sometimes it's just a matter of time. When it continues, things will change. These things will change the conduct. Reason will change the conduct. Situation will change the conduct. And now, the person will change the conduct. And in other terms, nature that lives in you. So you understand, you must have heard this, very famous, a very typical sentence in fight. When two people fight, they say, I never thought you are like this. If I knew you are like this, I would never have come to you, never married. Okay. I never thought that you are like this. This is one of the favorite sentences, that has to be in the fight. And then you realize, what are you thinking? Do you generally believe that, live with the fact that people change? It's not always about the people change. Sometimes people are revealed in a different situation. In a normal situation, people act differently. In a different, they act differently. In tense situation, people act differently. So it's not that somebody cheated you or somebody bluffed you. It's just that that situation never came before. It's like people are revealed according to situation. So sometimes you see people blaming. Oh, you bluffed. Oh, you cheated. Oh, you misled. Or, oh, this is the true color that you have. No, that's not true color and faded color and fake color. That's an added color. That's also the color that I had. And I'm sorry, many times I don't even know that I had it unless I have done it. So as a counselor, don't live in social cliche. Oh, this is it. So when someone comes to you, say, you know what? I always doubt. I never knew that she can be this way. No. She's still the way she was. She's also this way too. So adding factor, not the true color, not the fake color, but different color that you couldn't figure out unless you have lived with some time. So sometimes people will come to you, why couldn't I get this first place? Because you couldn't. Okay, that's how it is. So have this clarity of mind as a counselor, because people will throw you all this when they will come for counseling. Don't get carried away. They will say that he did this. No, it's okay. And be more intelligent. Many a times when people become very rigid to this, no, I think so. Put the, so I'm going to tell you something really beautiful here. You might want to use this as a punchline. In counseling, the punchlines and good statements will always work. This is called leading questions, a leading statement. Sometimes your one statement will finish all the conversation. So if you see sometimes the conversation is going somewhere else, it's not yielding a result or not going to a solution, it's not a solution directed, your one question can change the mode of the conversation. Question like this, how? So you can ask people something like, and you can present this as nicely as you can. Say, you know what? Many a times when we believe that we are bearing someone too much, we generally forget that someone else is bearing us too much. None of us are so sweet that can only make others feel, many a times our behavior, our action, our thoughts hurt someone too much, but they bear us. So when people will tell you things like, I think I'm bearing him too much or bearing her too much, I can't bear. Tell them, the moment you think you're bearing someone too much, Never forget someone else is also begging you too much, and you will feel very hurt when they will tell you. It's just that someone chose not to tell you. That's all. So people, people have this thought in cloud, I am the one who bears someone, will be gone. So put that person in a quick self-realization mode, quick, with one sentence. It's always not you. It's also other persons, all right? So yeah, that's something that you can put. So people have a different nature in them when things are normal, when things are different, and when things are intense. So never expect that, one person will never act the same in all three different, because it's a character. You don't know what you can do. Many a times, and I'm not sure, psychology, criminology is also a part of psychology. So in criminology, when you go and speak with people who are living in a jail, most of the time they will tell you things. They will tell you things is, I don't know why I did what I did. I have no idea. I was never like this. I was a nice guy. Many a times, people don't know who they are. Why? Because you are not born with a manual. You don't know how you function. Situation tells you, many a times, you as a person only comes out of you that you don't even know, you're not familiar with. Only time will reveal that. So it's possible. So as a counselor, live with that possibility. It's very possible. So it's never, so person was also the way he was, but he's also the way he is. Maybe situationally. So said that thing right. He used this thing very importantly. Key highlights in a relationship system is, so these are the glitches that you have. What are the glitches that you will have? What kind of different problems people will come to you with? Replaced with other conducts. Many times, like, bringing office rules to home. So sometimes people will come to you telling that the main conduct, you understand every relationship, every code has a different set of conducts. Sometimes people will replace some conduct with something else. Like your boss at office, you come back home. So you have a certain conduct, that's why you have a code of a boss. You have come home, you act like a mom, act like a wife, act like a husband, and you have a certain conduct to follow. Sometimes people replace it. The picked few of the conducts of being a boss with being that's why you see that, many a times, generally husband complains this, that, excuse me, I have a mom, I need a wife. Why? Because, wife generally forgets because she also has to perform as a mom. So she starts acting even with the husband as a mom. Do this, you don't do this, why didn't you do this, you should do that, all those things. And husband like, God, I have a mom, I need a wife. So generally what happens in case when the conducts are replaced, knowingly, unknowingly. So that is one kind of a glitch. Other kind of a glitch that you can have is when mixed of additional conducts. It's like playing husband and daddy at the same time. So if somebody is being more of directed or, starts acting you like a baby, of course, they're playing like a daddy. So in few only things that you have to keep in mind, right? When conducts are replaced, when they are added with more conducts that are not needed in that relationship, because if you also have all the signs of a husband in someone, plus some more sign, that you don't want that. Because that's not the original signs or original conduct of that code. Well, that's an additional one. But just that can be like delete of important conducts. Okay, like I can tell you. So one of the most important conducts can be in a relationship is romanticism. And the definition of romance will change after every 7 years, like I said. It will never be the same. It will change. There will still be love. Maybe love turns into affection. Maybe anything. So it will change differently. So it will never remain the same. So when you have cases like when people complains not having the same kind of romantic relationship as they had, tell them it changes. It's never the same. It can never be the same. So it changes because this is one of the examples. So husband and wife still they love each other, but kind of love they had, they have and they will have will be different. You see that when they grow old, what is love for them? Ensuring that he's healthy, ensuring he has a cough, she's worried, ensuring nobody says anything to him because he feels hurt. This is a love. Protection is a love. When they grow old, they keep protecting each other. Right? Physical protection, social protection, right? You will see that. And this is love for them. So it changes. Same relationship will have relationships. It all does, right? You see that when they have kids and all, they are less of a romantic partner, more of friends. Builder. They build together. Ghar banana, ye karna, wo karna. They become differently. They work differently. It just changes. So between two persons, there are many relationships. And when there are many, it has to start, it has to survive, it has to end. But the good news is every time one relationship ends, other will emerge between the same persons differently. Doubling the existing conducts, like too much cares feels like nagging. Sometimes take an example of, and this is a very typical example of what happens, mother and son. So mother becomes so concerned, or too concerned, when son starts going outside first time, she keeps calling, khana kha liya, ye kar liya, and son feels very nagging. He said, don't call me. I'm among my friends. So it generally happens. What mother fails to realize that things have changed. Right? He's more independent. He knows how to take care, a lot of stuff. But of course, when she doubles the conduct, the same love starts feeling like nagging. He doesn't like it. Can also be in a romantic relationship when you see that either girl or the guy starts caring each other too much. People name that as an addictive relationship. Too much addictive. There's a term for this. Informal and a bad term, people call them psycho. We are too emotionally dependent. Every single moment. So when you double the conduct, it becomes a problem. So that can be one glitch. And manipulating the existing conduct. This can be one of the problems between a lot of people when people manipulate the conducts. So they keep the conducts there, but they don't keep it there. Formality that we call. So husband is calling to wife because he has to call, otherwise she might feel offended. Husband does things for wife and she feels, so what wife feels, many times when you have cases like this, if you ask wife all the checklist, she'll be okay. She'll like, okay, so does he call you? Yeah, he does. Okay. Anytime you ask for anything, does he do? Yeah. Does he say something? No, he's very nice. So what happens is, he is so successfully faking the conducts that she doesn't know if the conduct is there or not. And she finds it very, very hard to complain because she cannot complain. Because he fulfills the formality. But relationship is always a matter of feeling. But she feels that something is missing. But she cannot pinpoint what. Same happens, when some family stops talking to each other. They do formalities. And you can't complain, but it's not there. When you fake. It generally becomes hard for this kind of relationship to fix. Why? Because people are not ready to accept. Something turns off inside them and they're like, okay, I am the way I am now. I changed. So yeah. Always remember, in a counseling, people will only tell you 50% of the truth. Other 50 you have to dig out. They will never tell you the truth. Question is, why? Why would they tell you the truth? They don't even know. They don't even trust. The more they like you, trust you, believes in you, the more they're going to reveal. So it's you as a counselor, success or failure, that how much you're able to take the truth out of them. And be careful. Sometimes truth may only look like a truth. It can never be the truth. Because truth has three factors, mine, yours, and real. My truth, can be his truth, her truth, and real truth. Can be three different kind of truths. So you have to be really good at analyzing, reading between the lines, understanding the word, interpreting the words, a lot of things that you have to be good at. 4 golden words in a relationship that you might want to remember are differences, similarities, reasons, and kills. Golden words. Always remember, in a relationship, there will be differences, okay? You can't do much. Why there will be differences? Because there are 2 different persons coming together and nothing common among them. But socially you decided the 2 absolutely different pieces will live together. Okay, here you come. So there will be too much of differences, always, and you will only get to know with the time how much. What you have to do is respect the differences. Why? Because you cannot love the differences. You don't have to change. So what you cannot love, you can respect. Why? Because somebody else does the same for you. There are many little habits that we don't like, but we, okay, now we respect, oh, that's okay. Why? Because I have a different upbringing, I have a different understanding, I have lived differently, worked differently, everything is different. So when almost everything is different, there will be only so much of, so less of similarities. So respect the differences. Why? Because there will be too many. Love the similarities. There will always be something similar, why you came together in the first place, or why you like each other. Love the similarities. Many times what happens, people get so much pissed off with the differences, they also stop loving the similarities. And then they don't find a sign of a relationship there. Because the only few similarities you had, or you stop even loving them. So all you have is a differences now. And differences can only be respected, cannot be loved. There is no love, there is no relationship. You're done. That's how it is. Then you have reasons. Every relationship we learn has some reasons. Some reasons that you started with, some reasons that you developed. Keep them. Because if you don't have it, there is no relationship. And then kills. Always remember, every relationship has something that can kill the relationship. Something. Maybe a bad memory. Maybe doubted each other. Maybe something. Something, every relationship has that poisonous stuff. Let it go. You know that even in our stomach, there are acids, very poisonous anyway, that helps us to cook to digest the food, can kill us literally. Let it go. If there is anything you find is very poisonous in a relationship, let it go. So always remember, relationship is not only the name of holding things tight, but letting things loose too. If you don't know how to let things go, you'll blast. It's a process, keeping that relationship clean. Bring things, respect it, love the similarities, keep the reasons, and keep letting things go that has turned bitter. You don't have to keep holding everything. Many times you know that there must be something other person does not like at all. The moment you start, this is a third world war. You might want to let go. Because that's going to be the one thing. Even if you have 100 many reasons to be in the relationship, that one reason can be enough to spoil everything. So letting go is quite a practice. So we have to learn in a relationship that there are things you will have to let go. Ongoing, and this is an ongoing task, not once in a lifetime. You call it compromise, you call it whatsoever. But that's a way a relationship can breathe. Otherwise, it'll be choked to death. So these are the 4 golden words you can give to your counselee. Sometimes when people quickly ask, and always remember, when you start getting into more of counseling, people will treat you differently. The moment they get to you, oh, Seher is counselor. Might be Seher is in a marriage somewhere party, say, hi, you're a counselor, this is what is going on. You're like, God, let me finish the plate. But people might ask you anytime. So you got to be a good counselor. You got to remember these 4 words. Or maybe something like this, always. So they can give people, something really good. So let me tell you this. At least if you have a reasons, you feel you still have a reasons, keep it. Don't let it lose. Something like this. You always have to be good at this, because people will keep, treat you like, pack of solutions. Like you see that doctor sahab jahan jate hain, say, doctor sahab mujhe ye tabiyat hai, kuch bata do. They're like, but this will happen. Or someone who sings, if Radhika, you say that, many people, spot on you. You sing. Can you sing something? Are you serious on the road? Yeah. People are weird.
What kind of song?
Yeah.
What kind of song?
No, I'm saying that people can, people do that. The moment they get to know you, you're a singer,
Yeah.
you're a writer. I write poems. Oh, you write poems?
Yeah.
Okay, can you share some? Are you serious? People do that. Because,
Yes.
this is how they expect you. You have mastered this art. So let's do something.
Yeah.
That can be really funny. If someone is dancing on the road, you can't say, oh, can you show some moves? You never know. People do that if Michael Jackson was there. So people do that. And who are people? We do that. Starting from me and everyone else. Yes. Not everyone except in the room. In fact, starting from the room. So we are the ones. We are those weird people. Just in case you have never seen them. See it now. Okay, let's see what else we have. 3 golden strategies that you have. Always remember. So when people come for counseling, ask them a very simple question whenever you can at the right time. Say that. Ask them, do you want this relationship? Do you need this relationship? Or do you have to have this relationship? If you look in your life, you will have 3 kinds of relationship. Relationship that you desperately want, relationship that you just need because these are important relationship, and relationship that you don't want at all for God's sake, but you don't have a choice. It will be there. So ask people a simple question. Why? Because this question will help you realize how much you want them to work on the relationship. The effort, the energy, your time, number of sessions that you will take, everything will quantified. So ask them, what kind of relationship is it between you, and what kind of relationship you feel it is, not necessarily socially defined. Maybe this is a relationship people think I really have to have it, or people think that I must want it, but I think this is a baggage. So that depends, because you're counseling that individual, you're not counseling society. So ask their feelings, how they feel about this. So give them a very beautiful suggestion. Say, if you want this relationship, you have to keep working for it. 24/7 is a job. Keep working for it. Today, tomorrow, as long as you want. Keep working for it. Most of people will come to you, will claiming their contributions in relationship, past contributions. Like say, I did this for her, I did this for him. Oh yeah, but if you want it, you still want it, you have to keep working for it. Means you still have to do every single day. Are you doing it? If you're not, no, you might lose it. You will lose it. And you see that when the most, sometimes happen between 2 persons, if one person stops working for it, generally that person is replaced by someone else. And then the jealousy comes. Oh, but you stopped working for it. So don't leave a spot. There was a good quote somewhere I read. It says that if you stop loving the person you love the most, don't complain when they are loved by someone else. It generally happens. It's important stuff. So ask them, if you want it, keep working for it. If you just need it, keep all the reasons for it. Whatever reasons you have till now, keep all the reasons. Don't lose the reasons. But if you have to have it, just do nothing to lose it. The best thing you can do is don't do anything. Because anything you do, you will only lose it. He just do nothing to lose it. That's all. So between, you know, mother-in-law and all, when somebody feels like, okay, I'm losing that relationship, so okay, so what do you feel? So sometimes people, I don't know, I mean, I have to have it. Okay, then don't do anything that you lose it. That's all. You don't have to work for it. One of the biggest mistakes counselors do generally is when counseling comes and they have to have it. They don't want the relationship. Counselors starts from every strategy and all the good things from they want them to have this relationship. No, there's a difference. I don't want this relationship. So even if you have counseled me better, I will disappoint you and I will fail you successfully. Why? Because I don't want this relationship. I just have to have this relationship. So you understand, because you alone cannot make this session or cannot make this successful. I have to be a part of it. So how much energy and time I'm willing to give, that depends. So ask them clearly. So counselors try to be a transformer or, you know, magicians, or don't. We are not those kind of people. Okay. We are neutralizer. We neutralize the pain, problem solver. Okay, so just keep that in mind, and I think you're good. This is going to be the last slide. But before this, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. Radhika, what's your question? Any questions? So far, you understood the very simple thing of relationship, summarizing everything. This is about conducts, and everything we learned so far, 70-80% was about conducts, reasons, situation, nature of person. Okay, all the tips, tricks, strategy that you learned, it's all about conduct. So when someone comes to you, focus on conducts, how to change the conduct, how to help someone change the conduct, not about focusing on code. People will come and complain about the code, but you know the problem is in the conduct. So, and what are the problems? Doubling the conduct, adding their additional conduct, faking the conduct, right? Deleting the important conducts, the very important conducts. Like, what is the most important conducts between father and a son? Protection. If son knows no matter what wrong is been done by me, my father will always be there. Imagine, father stops protecting, the feeling will be lost. You cannot keep saying all the lifetime. And then the other thing that you learned, you cannot, in cashing of the relationship, I did this for you when you were small. Okay, then done. When I was small, I called you Papa. What else? Done. So I'm just saying, because, you know, after doing 7,000 to 8,000 counselings in group and personal, I can say you, the people are very different. Sometimes your counselor will ask you a question, you won't know the answer. Yeah, that's right. So you got to be really open, the modern kind of counselors, not the traditional one. You shouldn't start counseling and telling people when a son comes for your counseling, you know what, he's your father. No, maybe I don't want to listen. He has given me enough reason that he's not my father, then he's my father. So you have to be wise enough. And how to be wise? Very simple. First, listen what he's saying so that one time he can listen what you are saying. A lot of stuff here. So you have to be very strategic as a counselor, right? And you will learn a lot of stuff like this gradually. So yes, any question, Radhika? You have?
Sir, you have said that like the code which are constants, they survive till 7 years. So is it necessary that it will only survive till 7 years? Not
7 years is like lump sum time that is said that. I mean, I cannot pinpoint that, you know what? 7 years, one day to go. And now the code will change. Not like this, of course, but yeah. Yeah, this is generally that is said that. And this is important to mention so that when someone is expecting more, say that this will change. The same kind of relationship will not be there. Like, now, if husband is expecting too much, maybe same kind of wife. A wife is expecting. Sometimes like it happens, you know, a girl married expecting that I will have this life, and they literally enjoy it few years. And then after that, they are always sad. He doesn't ask me where to go. He doesn't take me outside. He doesn't do this. My life is bad. I miss what? Tell them it changed. Come on, there's a different kind of love now. So yeah, this is it. Yeah, Seher, any question that you have?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. Gangadhar, sir, do you have any question? So far, you're good?
Sir, what is the meaning of this one? If you have to have it means?
If you have to have this means you don't like it, but you don't have a choice.
We don't like it, so we have to leave it.
You can't leave it. You cannot leave it. You have to have it means you can't leave it.
Must.
You must. You can't leave it. Like relatives, you can't get out of them. You can't get rid of them. There are relationships. There are relationships. In counseling, you have to be truthful. Not like what is ethically right, what is not ethically right, what society says, not like this. You really have to get inside. Arun sir, any question that I can help you with?
No, crystal clear.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you. I think we have one more. Divya, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Anything, Divya, that you can?
Sir, I wanted to know more in detail about the code and conduct because I'm getting confused.
Code and conduct. So simple, not much is. So conducts are the, defined behavior. Simple. That you're expected to perform to live in that relationship. An ideal behavior, in fact, I should say. Right? And that ideal behavior might change, might differ. Like an ideal wife can differ from person to person, So yeah, but the ideal or expected behavior you can tell. So expected behavior.
It depends on the person who's having the relationship.
Yeah. Mostly yes. But still it's a socially defined kind of. कि wife है तो ये तो करना ही चाहिए. अब खाना बनाने का, for example. So yeah, mostly society driven, but I think if both person are very understanding, it can be, person to person.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, suppose if we see a conflict, okay, in the relationship, and now we know that, yes, the stages are going to change.
Right.
Suppose, say husband or wife, whatever, whichever spouse you pick.
Right.
One spouse is complaining about the change which the other spouse has gone through, is going with. Then we say it's okay. There are going to be certain changes and everything. So, but then that might not be acceptable to the person. Ki, okay, change hai to kya hua? But there has to be certain limit to changes, right?
Absolutely. Like I said, all the glitches of the behavior that I discussed, certainly, absolutely. Why not? So many times people do for different reasons. Like
then in such case, if none of them is able to understand that there is a change and there has to be a limit to it, then how we will deal with it?
Simple. Bring them back to 3 questions. Do you want it? Do you need it? Do you have to have it? What do you say?
And one of them says, yes, I want, and another one says, no, I don't want. Then
decide the factors that last part, if you remember that, let go. Sometimes letting go involves the person. That's the last.
Okay. So that might be a bit more trauma for one of the parties.
One of the party has to suffer always. Because relationship cannot be with one person. That's true.
Okay, so we need to then build that party a bit more mentally prepared and things like that?
Yes. To let go the person.
Yeah.
If it is socially marriage, then divorce, boyfriend, girlfriend, separations. Yes.
But a first effort should be like trying to make them come together, right?
Of course. It goes without saying. Because somewhere, and this also depends on, so take an example of like doctor. So, in what case a doctor should let a person go when he can do nothing? Best of his ability. Only then.
No, but then suppose there's a case of cheating.
Infidelity, yeah. But that depends. Yes.
Yeah.
That will depend
then
on what matters. Yes.
for the time being, one person might let it go. Okay, it's fine. I'll just forgive that.
Right.
But there are possibilities that within inside that might not go away.
That's true. That depends. Like I said, the world lives between mind and matter. How much that matters to you. For some people, cheating may not matter most. For some people, this may matter so much that they want nothing in the world but to leave, or they can't afford it anymore. There was a good statement from a football player. So, news people, they were asking him, why don't you marry? Why don't you marry? Everyone asks, everyone is curious, just like people ask from Salman Khan. And that guy was blunt enough to say that, I cannot marry because I can't afford to be truthful in the relationship. That's why. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of trauma. Of course, counselor's job is not always easy. There can be a lot of trauma. But this is where our skills come in a picture. How successfully our job is not to change a sad person in the happiest person. Our job is to ensure that the person, it's like the bad is always good before worse comes. If someone is at worst, we are a successful counselor if we bring them to the worst to worse, worse to bad, bad to good.
So try to explore all possibilities. Only when you're exhausted, nothing is left, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, then you let go.
Yes, yes. When you're absolutely, you have nothing else in all your strength, in all your power that you can do.
Including the counselees. They also will raise their hands up in desperation.
Absolutely,
We are gone.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Which means bringing them to board is the first thing. Make them. So you need to make them trust you, telling that this guy can do something. Let's try. If he can fix, it's okay. We will move on. In case he doesn't, that's also okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I must tell you why, you as a counselor, I want to strengthen your belief in the let go system. Why? Because it's always good to let go the relationship than to let go the persons and life. One of the persons can kill themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
So always have that, like I say, work, like have the possibility of as open as a sky. And then see that. So it's always nice to let go a relationship than to let go a life.
But then of late, we have been noticing at newspapers and news on the internet and the television shows that people, let's say, especially this boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing.
Right.
So they're so comfortable getting rid of the other, telling, it's okay, we were together for 5 years, but then now it's done. We'll move on. And again, a few years later, they bump into each other. They say, okay, how is everything? And it's also possible that sometimes a couple of things I have seen. People might even reconsider coming back.
They do, because beauty of relationship lives in a distance many times. Yes. Yes. When you live too close, this is, I heard someone saying that the human is designed in a way, if they start living closer to God, they will come back with the 5 more shortcomings. You know what? God is not the way you think. I'll tell you how it is. And this is how we are designed.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very true. It's very true.
Perfect.
Sometimes the distance will only tell you how much, how much you miss each other, how important they are for yourself. Because generally we are influenced from the external factor.
That's why they tell time is the best healer.
Yes.
Give them time and space. Let them take some break and come back.
Absolutely. And you said very rightly, these days people are very daring. They let go. They're like, and sometimes some people have developed the quote like this, like, if I truly want you, and if you truly want someone, let that person go. If they truly want you, they will come back. I know some people keep waiting, they never come back, but still, this is something you can always, anything is like,
unlike the traditional relationship where people used to deal with each other for the rest of their lives. Yes, people will say, it's fine, like changing our shirt.
Exactly. There's a beautiful thing I learned from somewhere, and you might want to use this as a quote sometime, a punchline. I says that the reason people will fight in both relationships, love marriage and arranged marriage. In arranged marriage, people fight because they don't know each other, one another. In love marriage, they fight because they know one another too much.
Too much.
So this is, a fight will be inevitable. But like you learned today as a counselor, the ongoing situation can lead something to unwanted.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a careful thing. Like I said, 24/7 job.
Yeah.
So very good. Let's finish this last slide that we have, and we are done. So last slide says that there's things to remember, a few things. It says you are right, you're just good if you don't need one, don't want one, and don't have to have one. It is perfectly okay if you come across someone, whoever says, I don't need a relationship, I'm happy the way I am. Okay, that's perfectly okay. It's not always about people. It can be about person. Sometimes you know that. Sometimes all you need is you, especially when you're tired of, there are two words in English, and I think I wouldn't say must tell, solitude and loneliness. So in both situations, you're alone, but but the feeling is different. So solitude is a feeling of being alone, enjoying being alone. And loneliness is a painful situation when you're alone. So not everyone who is alone is lonely.
Yeah.
So that's something that you might want to keep in mind as a counselor, and not judging people just because they're alone and they're happy. Perfectly, people can be super happy being alone. Take an example of the saints, people who are saints. Oh, they're so happy being alone. And they're troubled when they come in contact with people.
But solitude.
Yes, sir. You're gone on mute. I think mistaken.
You don't have anybody to lean on. You have to fend for yourself. Solitude, you choose that situation for yourself. Go to a jungle, go to the Himalayas, or stay at home alone. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the great thing, somebody also mentioned this, expanded this line, say that when people leave you, you become lonely. When you leave people, you're in solitude.
Yeah, that's right.
So you might want to just, understand this and connect with people feeling how they feel sometimes. So sometimes people die to live together. Sometimes people die because they live together. So, all right. Second says that before you try to get into someone else's worlds, make sure you have your own. This is super important these days. People want a person in life because they want to explore one another's world. The question is, if you do not have your own world,
you can't appreciate.
No, because take an example of this. Why do we respect the guests so much? Because we know that they have only come to go. Imagine if a guest come to your home only to stay. How much you really think you will respect him? So the same happened when two persons come together. They want to explore each other's world because, out of nature, people get tired of their own world. So always ensure that your world is beautiful enough that someone once comes, wants to stay, and keep that world that beautiful. Otherwise, what will happen, maybe emotionally you liked each other, you started living together, but the moment someone will figure out, oh, okay, so you are welcome in my world, or what about me? Where do I go? You don't have one. Have your own world, no matter how small, how it is, but you have to have your own world. Then it says that no matter what your relationship approach is, every approach will have its effect and side effects. However, you are, you are maybe very truthful in a relationship, or you are very different in a relationship. However your relationship approach is, every approach will have some effect and side effect, whatever it is. Always remember something that we say that, in truth, in a relationship, one of the biggest problems that people have is people always want to know the truth. Question is why? Telling the truth may not be a problem. But the reason why people don't tell the truth, because they know that you will not remain the same after knowing the truth. So question is not that, you will see people pressurizing one another a lot. Tell me everything. Tell me everything. Question is, can you handle everything? And it still remain the same. Answer is no. So always remember, you don't have to know everything about someone. Why? Because you are meeting someone after 25 years. Why do you want to know anything and everything anyway? Because in 25 years, there can be 20 million things you can't handle. So it's a compliment that you should focus on, not the purity or the way that you want it, because every saint has a future and every sinner has a past, and almost everyone is sinner one way or the other. So this is something we all should keep in mind. Since all of us are unique, so are our relationships, so are our problems, and so are the solutions. We are all unique people. So problems, solutions, so everything will be different. If the problem is temporary, don't bother about permanent solutions. Like I said, never underrate the power of tips and tricks. Like somebody says that, sometimes a little thing can do so much that a big thing can never do. Sometimes you don't have to, sometimes, maybe months of or weeks of sour relationship can be fixed with one joke, with one laughter, with one ice cream, with some gold. Like there is a quote somewhere, if nothing else can, gold can fix a relationship. So many times. So that depends. So sometimes, small things can fix big things. So you don't have to really.
It makes all the more sense now because gold is almost 50,000.
Right. Yes, it makes even more sense. So yeah, don't really bother of changing yourself. You're not humorous, so what? Give a gold. You're happy. People have their different ways of solving things. So don't really bother. Not everyone has to be everyone like. But people do discover their own ways of fixing things. And that's a beauty. Don't underestimate the power of a smile, compromises, and silence. Few things are beautiful in a relationship. Smile, compromises, and silence. Do things for each other. Because when you invest in one another, you want to protect one another. Of course, you want to protect your investment. And then relationship becomes so beautiful when there is a lot of dependency. The moment you start becoming so independent, you don't need one another. And any small thing can put you apart, set you apart. So it's always, that's why we do things for one another. So that, we are entangled so much. And it's so funny. When you do things for one another, it's called love. When you do things for yourself, it's called selfishness. But this is what it is. So same act. You prepare a coffee, you drink yourself, see how people look at you. You prepare a coffee, you give a half of to other, same thing. So yeah, a lot of, and you'll figure out your own way. The problems will change over the period of time. Don't try the same solutions, okay? And always remember, problems will change over the period of time. If you keep trying the same solutions, it will not work. Problems change over the period of time. Talk when they are listening and listen when they are talking. Simple thing. If they are talking, listen. That's also a love. Listening is a love. Somebody, rather I read somewhere, somebody says that listening is the beginning of love. So if you do anything and everything, even if you are the greatest provider in family, but if you don't listen, you cannot claim that you love. Because it's the beginning of love, foundation. So then we have says that, don't try to know everything, like I said, because you may not handle everything. So that's perfectly okay. You don't have to know. Rather, people may, and anything, when it comes to secret and all, see, everyone has this kind of life. People have professional life, personal life, and secret life. Everyone has two kinds of secret. Open secret, that they tell everyone to tell no one. Okay, and there's a hidden secret, truly, that you tell no one, never. You live with it and you die with it. And it's okay. It's perfectly okay. Sometimes secrets are the power, strength. So, yeah. Work for each other. This way you will have invest in each other and you will protect your investment. If you can't fix something, find a way to manage it. Always know that. Not always you will be able to find the solutions. And something that you cannot control, you can manage. That's why we say stress management. We don't call it stress control program because you can't control it, but you can manage it. And sometimes managing is as good as controlling it. So live with this knowledge. When the relationship has gone bad, many a times when the relationship has gone bad, change your code and act like a friends. Friendship is the safest relationship, most neutral. And you know what friends do for one another. They are just there for them. If they need, they involve. If they don't need, they're okay. Most neutral relationship. So no matter what relationship you have, father, son, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, relatives, this any kind of relationship, anything is getting bad, switch back to friendship. And you're safe. Because sometimes, you have seen, sometimes relationships are like cactus. The tighter you hold it, the more this will hurt you. So you don't have to. Sometimes just, let it be as it is. You are not drawn, and you remember this, and many times you will have a problems, and that's perfectly okay. The example says that when you jump in the water, you are not drawn because you have jumped in the water. You're drawn because you don't know how to swim. You try to sit on the water. So when you try to sit on the water, that's the reason you're drawn, not because you have jumped into the water. So there will be a lot of that phases when you have to go through the acid test in a relationship. Just remember that you know how to swim. And you will have, you will soon see the bank of it, and you should be out of it. Please enjoy your day and use this concept as much as you can. And you have a good day and take care. Thank you very much. Let's get started.